I've been spending years trying to optimize my time management to be as productive as possible in my design business, and in this video, I'll share with you my best takeaways. Hi everybody, and welcome to another segment of Business Time, the segment where I share with you some of my learnings and insights after running a design business for years. And today I want to talk about time management. So time management, I know it's a struggle for a lot of people because there are so many things that we have to deal with. The design work itself, our clients, talking to them, doing kind of like marketing for ourselves, sales calls, managing finance, all these type of things that you have to worry about when running a freelance business as a designer. And sometimes you get caught up in all of it and you feel like you're not making any progress. So today I want to share with you some of the best things that I try to work on, and after realizing how important they are after running my freelance business for years. So let's get started with the first one, and this is key. The first one is you have to know where your time is going, because how can you manage your time if you don't even know where your time is going? You do that by tracking your time, and I mean tracking everything that you do, not just your client work, by tracking how much time it was dedicated to sales calls, how much time was dedicated to whatever, installing new software or inspiration on Pinterest or whatever it is that you're looking for inspiration. The way to the most easily do that is I use Timely, which is just installed on my computer and does that, automatically. So I don't have to remember to do that. And I can just go at the end of the day or the week to say, oh, this was that and this was that, because you can see which software or window was open. I actually did a full video on Timely, so you can look it up here. And so, so you have to track everything. You have to look at that at the end of the week or a month and understand, okay, so this is how much time is going there and this is how much time doing that. Looking at this can make you realize that maybe you're spending too much time on things that you did not plan for, or maybe that you should schedule more time for certain things. So the first thing is if you try to optimize anything, is to understand what's really happening, and tracking is the first thing that you have to cover in that there. The second thing is, if you want to own your time, you have to start learning how to say no to people. And that is, no, I won't take a meeting with you. No, I can't answer the calls right now. Or no, I'm not going to answer your email at this specific point. I think that today, when we're connected and everything gives you a notification that you really want to look at, a lot of people, specifically if you're a service provider, such as, a designer, a freelance designer, feel like you have to be always on, right? Always on responding to your clients, always on when you're with your family or whatever. You always have to reply that notification. But the truth is that's really, really destructive. And it has a very big switching cost. And switching cost is, the concept that if you're very concentrated doing one thing, for example, design work, and now you're going to have to pick up the phone and talk, even if it's just for 2 minutes, with your client about something else, and your mind has to switch the context totally, and then going back to it, you didn't lose 2 minutes, you actually lost 30 minutes. And this is by research, because by the time that you'll get back into your zone, this is going to be very, very painful, and you're not going to be as productive. So start saying no, or just ignoring phones and emails, at least for a specific time. So I have like 3 times during the day that I know I'll be checking my emails and notification. This is 30 minutes when I come into the office, during my lunch break, and then before the end of the day. Besides that, when I'm focused, when I'm doing the actual work itself, I do not reply. And it's okay. No client ever had such an emergency that I could not call him like 3-4 hours later, and it was okay. Of course, you have to, put that in a caveat. Sometimes you're working with a client on something specific and you need to have this conversation. Otherwise, you can't progress. If you're working on, launching their website and you need something from them, or you want to be online with them when you're doing it, all right, of course, sometimes. But in general, I think you should try to be very, very mindful for when you're doing those small things, and try to separate basically the deep work, which is long sessions of uninterrupted work where you don't do anything but the project that you're working on right now and the other small tasks that you have. Now, there's this concept about maker's time versus manager's time, which I also think is pretty helpful to understand that sometimes when you're doing maker's time, such as you're making something, you're designing, you need this long uninterrupted work, but you also have manager's time, which is replying emails, having phone calls, writing proposals, and those are sometimes like smaller tasks. And so when you try to separate them, usually for me it looks something like mornings are deep work sessions and afternoons are kind of manager's time. I'm doing my meetings, I'm doing my calls. By separating them, you'll be more productive at both instead of trying to like run them both simultaneously, which is very, very unproductive. The last thing that I have to say is having buffer is super, super important. I've recently talked about this, that I only schedule for 75% of my time because things happen that you don't plan for. Also, when I try to estimate projects, I always add 20 or 25% to what I think it's going to take me, because all things happen in which you can't control. And by having these kind of a buffer, it'll help you run through things more effectively with less stress, and also get them done, in time, I would say, because if you plan to do them really, fast, and it's going to take more time, you'll feel like you're, out of schedule and stuff like that. So in order to manage my time well, I actually leave. Sometimes you can look at my calendar and you see a full day is like one day can be fully batched off. Everything is like every slot on the calendar is full. Then another day, half of it is empty. And it's not like I'm going to go sit there and not do anything, but just I know that things spill over. And so I plan for this, and this helped me become much more effective and productive. All right. Hope you guys found this helpful. If you have any tips that you think I can learn from, I'd love to hear your time management tips in the comments. I'll see you tomorrow.